Good morning. Our readings are taken from Rays of the One Light, Weekly Commentaries on the Bible and Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. This week, self-reliance versus self-reliance. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Last week we considered the need for attunement with God, with the gurus, and with the wisdom of others until we make that wisdom our own. There is a strong and in fact valid belief nowadays in the need for standing on one's own feet rather than depending weakly on others to carry us by their strength. Swami Kriyananda was once asked, "What is the best yoga posture?" "That one," he replied, "which sets you squarely on your own 2 feet." Our strength must come from within. If that strength comes from the ego, however, instead of from soul consciousness, it is like a guitar string without its sounding board. The notes it emits will be thin and feeble. Our strength must come from within, but must be coupled with recognition of our inner link with broader and higher realities. The Bhagavad Gita says in the 10th chapter, "Everyone in this world whose life is glorious or prosperous or powerful, know that his achievement is but a little spark from the great sun of my effulgence." Jesus, in talking to his disciples, emphasized also the power of attunement with his own consciousness as a ray of the divine. For this ray had descended already through him in response to their devotion. It was a sign that God was already listening to them with receptive attention and did not require to be wooed in that way any longer. In the passage preceding the one that we read last week, Jesus said, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me." This was the meaning of Paramahansa Yogananda's counsel also, when speaking more intimately to the disciples of the need for attunement with him. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. My name is Hanuman, and I'm here with Mari and Lorna and Surendra. What shall we talk about? I guess we can start with the reading, huh? From Whispers. This is on page 92. "The Master Mariner, come take charge of my boat. O Father, my little raft of meditation is floating toward thy shore. Though buffeted by furious storms of distraction and heaving waves of the sea of my mind rise and fall tumultuously, yet I am heading steadfastly toward thy shore. O Master Mariner, come, take charge of my boat." Well, gosh, there's so much to talk about today. And there's some really important points that I hope I can get across to you. But first, I have to tell you, since we've kind of started about talking about water, you know about the beaver and the fox that were standing and looking at Hoover Dam, right? You didn't hear about that? Oh, okay. Well, the fox says to the beaver, he says, "Is that your work?" And the beaver says, no, but it comes from one of my ideas. Sri Ramakrishna said that God is like the wind flowing across the ocean, and we are the sailors. First, we have to untie the boat from the dock to sail. Second, we have to trim the sails to go wherever we want to go. So these are pretty easy metaphors for you yogis. What do you think untying the boat from the dock is talking about? Anything. Give me anything. Ego, all that. It's talking also about meditation too, right? You gotta tie yourself away from the ego so that you can have a sense of God's Spirit. And then trimming the sails has to do with attunement. If you don't trim the sails, you can't get where you want to go on the spiritual path. Now, I do want to talk about the elephant in the room. For the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about branches and cutting things and snipping, purging, and all sorts of stuff that has to do with master gardening, right? But I have a question for you. What would you rather have working upon you? First of all, I'll ask you this question. Does everybody know what a lopper is? Okay. A lopper gets rid of, at least a ½ inch, the larger things on the vine, basically. And then we have snippers, right? What's the purpose of snippers? That's the fine tuning, making beautiful things. So when we talk about the lopper, we're talking about letting go of basically dead wood. And in this case, it says God removes the branches, basically. But remember, you are God's too. You are part of God, right? So really what this is talking about is whether or not you are interested in staying a part of the vine, or basically you age out and die. Okay. Or we'll say transcend. Okay. So the loppering part of things, we have a choice in. We actually don't have much choice in either the lopping or the purging, but we'll get to that. The main thing is that when we make a choice of not focusing on God in some way, in spirit, and we focus just basically on life as we see it, as we believe it to be in the material world, there won't be perhaps as much happiness. You'll get some happiness along the way, but the fact is that you really get this up and down motion. What brought us here in the first place, right? Weren't we all kind of doing this in our lives? We figured something's got to be better than that. Yeah? So that's what happens to any of us who decide that the path, any spiritual path, is not worth, it's not working for them, or they don't believe in it, or whatever. These are good people. We're all good people, but they don't see what's going on a more subtle level. This brings me to a story about Narada. Now, Narada is God's angel. He's like the archangel. And I got to tell you, if you know any Narada stories, this one basically has to do about looking for true devotees. And Narada doesn't have to get in too much mayhem in this story. But there's other stories where God asks him to get him a drink of water. And boy, we're not telling that story today, but it's a good one. Uh-huh. So Narada goes down to earth to find a true devotee. And he finds this man he's 80 years old, and he's been doing austerities for his entire life for God. And Narada comes up to him and says, "Hi, I'm Narada. God's asked me to look for a true devotee." And he said, and the anchorite, the yogi, says, "Well, you've just found a true devotee. I've been doing these practices for 80 years. And when you see God, ask him why he hasn't come down and seen me." And Narada says, "All right, I'll let him know. I'm going to pass that message on." And so Narada keeps walking around and looking for true devotees, and he comes across this one fellow, and he actually looks like he's drunk. And he's trying to put this bamboo post in a hole, and he cannot do it. And he's actually swearing to God. He's saying, "God, you naughty God, if you don't help me here, I'm going to put this bamboo stick right in your heart." Well, Narada, this is a little bit too much for Narada, So he kind of imposes and says, "Look, let me help you. Let me put the bamboo stick in for you." "You can't help me. Only God can help me." I says, okay. Well, I'll let God know. And Narada starts to leave, and he says, "Oh, just remember to tell God I love him." He says, "Okay, I will do so." So Narada goes back up to heaven and reports to God and says, "Hey, I found this guy. For 80 years, he's been doing his practices. We'll call him Bill." Bill's been doing these practices for 80 years. And I think he is a true devotee. And God goes, "Bill, I know a number of Bills, but this one just doesn't ring a bell." And he said, "Oh, okay. Did you see anybody else down there?" God says. And Narada kind of hangs his head down and says, "Well," and God says, "I bet you found a guy that was inebriated down there, didn't you? His name was Jim." He says, "Well, I did." "Well, yeah, he knew Jim." And he says, "Yeah, he's a true devotee." And, Narada's scratching his head. This guy's drunk and swearing at God, and he's a true devotee. And this other guy's been living his whole life, doing all these austerities for God, and God doesn't even know who he is. So God understands that Narada's got a question there. So I'll tell you what, you go down there and you just say to them both, "I'm busy working. As soon as I put 1,000,000 elephants through the eye of a needle, I'll be down." He says, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." So Narada goes back down, and he goes to the anchorite, and he says, "Well, well, the anchorite says, well, what did God say? What did he say? He says, well, he said, I'm busy, but I will come down as soon as I get 1,000,000 elephants through the eye of a needle. And the anchorite goes, you gotta be kidding me. I've been spending my whole life doing all these austerities, doing all this stuff, and God's won't even get here until after 1,000,000 elephants going through an eye of a needle. I just don't understand that. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I'm going to go find myself a bar. Well, there goes an anchorite, Bill. He goes to Jim, and he tells Jim the same thing. And Jim is almost ecstatic. He says, you told me he's coming. God is coming. That's all he heard. He didn't hear about the millions of elephants. And he knew that God was almighty. He could come, he could do anything in a moment's notice. And so he said, dance with me in joy. And so Narada and him, they're dancing. And pretty soon, God joins them. And that's the end of the story. But what's to be learned from that? It's not drinking. Yeah, I'm sure. Because it has to do with attunement. It has to do with devotion, really. It has to do with finding God, living in God, and serving God. Swami Kriyananda was asked once, why are you so happy? And he responded and said, it's my devotion to the Guru. It's my service to the Guru. And it's my meditation. I think we all understand that the world is not exactly what we think it is. Okay? Maury and I, on our way back from Spiritual Renewal Week, actually on our way down and on our way back, we listened to The Physics of God by Puru Selby. I'll tell you, it's a great read. I guarantee you'll get at least a third of it. Because it's not an easy read. But the bottom line is that science basically has proved, well, first of all, you know this much. We all know this much. We know that energy, that matter, all matter, is made of energy. So that's for sure. And the other thing that we know is that conscious energy is what God is. Ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. That's a two-dimensional world. The matter part makes it a three-dimensional world. That's kind of a sideline that you can revolve around for a while. But the point being is that we want to have a direct relationship with God. And that direct relationship comes by letting go of all the things that are material to us. mostly ego things. We want to get rid of the negative stuff. We want to maybe work on having better habits. There's things that we can do, prayer, meditation. Living in the presence of God is where we want to be. It's where we're most effective for ourselves and for everyone else. But we have to do the work to get there. We have to do some trimming, some purging of whatever it is we came down here with that is holding us back. Asha tells a story. Real story. She has to work with this person. This person is overbearing and opinionated. And Asha, by her own account, will say, well, I'm opinionated too. She goes to Swami and says, I don't know how to work with this person. And Swami says, oh, yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she can be a handful. I just choose not to have a personality. And then at that point, there's no conflict with her. So we get along fine. And Asha took that to mean that she needed to let go of all likes and dislikes. Be non-attached. Those are definitely good things for all of us to work on, right? They all get us in trouble. So, years pass, and Asha goes to Swami and says, I just wanted to tell you how much I wanted to thank you for giving me that advice about the overbearing, opinionated lady. That you chose to not have a personality. Swami kind of rubbed his head a little bit, squinted, and said, well, I actually don't have a personality. I see Kriyananda only as an event in which I'm responsible for. And he also said, nearing the end of his life, I don't know where Master's thoughts stop and mine begin. And you might think that that is an awful hard place to go. But I got to tell you, that's where we have to go. We have to go there for not only our own sanity, our own happiness, but more importantly, to make a difference in this world. When there is light, the darkness has to go. The sun shines on everything. But if the buildings have their blinds down, no sun goes through. And the same is true with us. God's shining on us if we have our hearts closed down because, we've had a number of reasons why we closed it down in the first place. But we got to get rid of that habit because we know it doesn't work. Okay? Get rid of the habit. Open your heart. Be a little vulnerable. Let go of your personality and just love God. And have the faith that that's enough. Your work is working on your faith, in feeling the presence of God, and then moving from that point. Yes, we have a will, but what's one of Master's greatest prayers? Guide, I will reason, I will, I will act, but guide thou my reason, will, and activity to the right course of action in all things. If you want to find happiness, if you want to make somebody happy, God, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't it feel good just to see a smile? That your presence can bring somebody else to smile? And it's not you. Believe me. Okay? If the ego's there, that's a veil. Just let it go. And let God be your sole desire, your motivator, your compass, your life. And you will make a difference in yourself and a difference in everyone around you. Here. Got a song.